You're walking along the outskirts of Stuttgart, maybe Wolfsburg. The air is quiet in a way that feels wrong. No hum, no rhythm, just wind. Ahead of you stands a massive complex of steel and glass, a cathedral built for industry. This place once powered the global economy. This is where the phrase, made in Germany, wasn't just a label. It was a license to print money. Today, the lights are off. The machines are cold. And the only thing this factory produces now is silence. It sounds like dystopian fiction, a cyberpunk backstory. But here's the uncomfortable truth. This isn't fiction. It's a probability. And that probability is accelerating every single day. For decades, the world worshipped the German engineer. Precision, discipline, relentless perfection. These people gave us the Porsche 911, the Autobahn, an industrial machine so exact they made Swiss watches feel casual. They were the undisputed elite of manufacturing. But right now, something is quietly breaking beneath Europe's economic engine. This isn't a normal recession. This is something far more dangerous. We're watching the slow extinction of a specific kind of excellence. In this video, we're going to dissect the hidden crisis that turning the German engineer from a global advantage into a legacy liability. A lethal mix of arrogance, energy policy failures, demographic collapse, and a refusal to accept that the world has fundamentally changed. So grab a coffee, or maybe something stronger, because we need to talk about how the gold standard turned into rust. Let us start with a word you probably tend to know, but one that perfectly explains why the German auto industry is now staring into the abyss. The word is Spaltmaß. In English, it roughly translates to panel gap. It's the microscopic distance between two body panels, like where a door meets the frame. For the last 50 years, German engineers have been obsessed with this gap. Not casually interested, obsessed. Billions of euros, millions of man-hours, decades of institutional knowledge, all spent ensuring that this gap was consistent down to the micrometer. Sit inside an Audi from 2010 and it feels solid, dense, expensive, like a bank vault on wheels. That panel gap was a visual signature of superiority. It screamed, "We care more than everyone else." And here's the irony. While German engineers were perfecting door hinges, the rest of the world was redefining what a car actually is. Germany still sees a car as a mechanical object. The market now sees it as a computer on wheels. And this disconnect has been catastrophic. Take Volkswagen's software disaster, Cariad. A few years ago, VW realized something terrifying. Tesla wasn't winning because of build quality. It was winning because its software actually worked. So VW did what Germany always does. They added structure. They added hierarchy. They added thousands of engineers. The goal was simple: build a proprietary operating system that could rival Tesla and Google. The result? A humiliating collapse. The ID. 3. Volkswagen's electric future rolled off assembly lines mechanically perfect, beautiful panel gaps, immaculate finishes. But they couldn't be delivered because the software didn't work. Thousands of cars sat in parking lots, fully built and completely brain dead. Engineers had to walk from car to car with laptops, manually flashing firmware in the rain because the over-the-air system wasn't ready. Imagine buying an iPhone, and Apple sends a technician to your house with a USB stick to install iOS. That's not a bug. That's a worldview failure. German engineering culture is built on hierarchy and perfection. You plan for 5 years, you measure twice, you release only when it's flawless. Software works the opposite way. You ship early, you break things, you fix them fast. To a traditional German engineer, releasing beta software feels immoral. So while Germany perfects the feel of a volume knob, Chinese manufacturers like BYD and NIO are shipping cars packed with massive touchscreens, AI systems, and seamless software for half the price. The uncomfortable truth? Mechanical perfection has become a commodity. No one cares about a perfect panel gap if the screen freezes when you change a song. The value chain has moved from hardware to software. Germany brought calipers to a coding war. Quick question before we move on. When you buy a car today, what matters more to you? The feel of the buttons or the technology on the screen? Be honest. Now let's talk about energy. Because if software was Germany's blind spot, energy has become its self-inflicted wound. Every factory needs 3 things: materials, labor, and energy. If even one becomes too expensive, you're finished. For 20 years, Germany's economic miracle relied on a fragile equation: high-tech exports, powered by cheap Russian gas. It worked, until it didn't. In 2022, that entire model collapsed overnight. Something is deeply wrong with the German economic engine. For decades, it was the envy of the world, the powerhouse of Europe, a symbol of quality and engineering. But that engine is stalling, and this isn't a temporary dip. This is a story about the slow, painful collapse of an industrial titan, and it starts with a single number: the price of gas. When energy prices exploded, giants like BASF, the world's largest chemical producer, faced an existential crisis. Their main site in Ludwigshafen consumes as much energy as the entire country of Switzerland. So they made a cold, rational decision. They left. They began shutting down plants in Europe and started investing billions in China instead. This wasn't just one company. The chemical industry is the first domino. When it leaves, everything downstream, from car parts to plastics, starts to break. And just as the crisis hit, Germany made a decision that future historians will study in disbelief. In the middle of an energy shortage, they shut down their last 3 nuclear power plants. They removed a massive source of reliable, carbon-free baseload energy from their grid. While the US and France are building new reactors, Germany chose ideology over basic math. The result? German manufacturers now pay 2 to 3 times more for electricity than their competitors in Texas or China. It doesn't matter if your engineering is 1% better when your energy costs are 200% higher. The math simply no longer works. This is deindustrialization, not a sudden explosion, but a slow, bleeding decline. But the story gets worse. Let's talk about demographics. Meet Hans. Hans is 58, a senior mechanical engineer at a mid-sized German firm. He's a wizard. He can diagnose a catastrophic failure from a schematic in seconds. 40 years of hard-won experience are stored inside his head. In 5 years, Hans retires, and there is no one to replace him. Germany is aging faster than it can adapt. Millions of skilled workers like Hans will exit the workforce this decade, with no one in the pipeline to take their place. Where are the young German engineers? Many are leaving. They're moving to the United States, to Switzerland, chasing higher pay, lower taxes, and faster career growth. This is a classic brain drain. And when that institutional memory, that 40 years of experience, walks out the door, you can't just download it from a server. It's gone forever. The foundations of Made in Germany are eroding from within. Then there's the bureaucracy. It's almost a caricature, but it's true. Germany still runs critical government systems with fax machines. Startups get buried in paperwork. Building permits can take years. The culture punishes failure, which suffocates innovation. It's a system built for a stable, predictable world, not the chaotic, fast-moving reality of the 21st century. And while Germany was struggling with these internal problems, its greatest student became the master. China has caught up and in many areas surpassed its teacher. Take electric cars. German automakers perfected the internal combustion engine, but Chinese companies like BYD are dominating the future. BYD controls the entire supply chain, the batteries, the raw materials, the logistics. Their cars are cheaper, and in many cases, just plain better. And they are now arriving in Europe by the thousands on their own transport ships. This is Germany's Kodak moment. They were so good, so perfectly optimized for the old world, that they failed to see the new one coming until it was too late. So what's the real lesson here? This isn't just a story about Germany. It's a warning about adaptation. If you optimize your life, your career, or your company perfectly for a world that no longer exists, you don't just decline, you become irrelevant. Don't let that happen to you. Be fast, be flexible, and never confuse perfection with survival. If you want to understand where this trend of stagnation can lead, watch my next video on Japan's lost decades. And if you're a German engineer watching this, please prove me wrong. The world still needs your brilliance, just not the 1990s version of it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights into the forces shaping our world.